Darryl's clever. Darryl's clever. Darryl's clever. Darryl's clever. Darryl's clever. Darryl's clever. He's
We've
clever.
got it.
All right. So do we have to restart, Darryl? Can we not just keep rolling? This is some good B-roll here.
There you go. Keep going.
All right. Lauren, this is my
two.
intro. This is my intro. Take two,
Right.
Toronto Real Estate Show. All right. So Lauren Haw is the CEO and broker of record at ZooCasa. She is also one of the directors at Scholarhood and Rate Hub. She is super successful. She's part of the real estate industry. We bring on a lot of real estate people, like salespeople and people who are, in the industry, but you by far are the business side of real estate. And you've got a much different perspective because it's not just about dealing with clients. It's about dealing with agents and dealing with the markets. And, I've seen you on Financial Post. You've got a lot of interviews on there. And you've got a great following. And I would say one of the best real estate purchases in the Greater Toronto area has been ZooCasa that, you made several years ago. And your success today is proving it. So good work.
Yeah, thanks. I hate intros, but I appreciate it.
So I know Lauren from school, and she was definitely a lot smarter than me, but that doesn't say that much. But she was very good. One of those people that you knew would be successful. And today she's killing it. And we're going to talk some real estate, Lauren.
Oh, I didn't know you guys went to school together. That's good. That's cool.
High school.
Yeah. And now she's more in the central Toronto area.
Yeah, we're in Riverdale right now.
Okay, Riverdale, perfect. So
nice.
East End, Central Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? It's a place to be. That's a good place.
It's a good place.
You can't get too far away from Scarborough.
Exactly. That's like that's like high class Scarborough. You go into like the beaches in Riverdale. You're like honestly, most people I talk to there, they grew up in Scarborough and then they moved to a more East End neighborhood. But that's my small narrow-minded field of people that I know. So what's going on, Lauren? What's going on in the market?
Oh, good.
We've got lots of listeners.
I was hoping you would just lead with questions and I'd give you some opinions and none of it in fact.
Well, so that's perfect. I was on ZooCasa this morning actually, and so everywhere you read, even on your site, but everywhere we read right now, we're talking about shortages of inventory levels at all-time lows, and then there's a button on your website that says new listings, and I pressed it, and there's like 800 new listings dated today.
Yeah.
So it seems that ZooCasa has all of the listings across Canada. I didn't see too many in Toronto though. So I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have the CREA feed across Canada, and then we've got direct board access for all of Ontario. So anything in Ontario is perfect coverage, but I've actually applied to become a member in Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. So we'll have those feeds imminently. I think we all know, I mean, I don't know where you guys are sitting right now, but I mean, it's no shocker. Is this mainly a Toronto real estate show? Yes, that's a stupid question.
Working on global domination, but right now we haven't
starting
past deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
So so I mean the inventory, as you guys know, like we're at what, 2.5 weeks of inventory in Peel and Durham.
Wow.
And I think we're at about 5 or 6 weeks for Toronto and York. So we've got a bit more leeway, but that's really just price dependent, right? So anything, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but anything in that kind of 800 to 1.2, 1.3, it's
doesn't stay.
Yeah. It can't stick, and it goes for far too much. So this is what we're seeing. Like if you didn't list anything in Durham tomorrow, like we'd be out of listings by February 1st.
Wow. That's a good way of looking at it. Like if nobody else decides to sell, there will be nothing for sale by the end of the month.
Nothing for sale in Feb 1 anywhere in Peel. I think Halton's the same, but don't quote me. But I know in Peel and Durham, we are out of inventory by February.
Wow.
So is this environment, like from a seller's perspective, is this an environment that is interesting or scary as hell? Like it seems it's scary as hell for both sides of the coin right now.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I think you guys have been in it longer than me, but the January is always like this. And the way that I always say it is, nobody wakes up and says, I'm selling my house today, or I'm going to move tomorrow, right? People make a plan, and this year I'm going to move. So everybody that's going to move between now and July is already shopping, right? So the 100% of buyers that are going to buy a home between now and July are already looking. They're looking online, they're looking with their agents, they're out and about. They're active in the market. And all the sellers are waiting for their tulips to come in, right? So there's just, you've got 100% of the like H1 2022 buyers ready to go, and you've
Everybody
got the
focused
sellers
on getting it
waiting.
listed. They're all
Not
saying,
only do
I need
you
to look first.
and not only I think do you have 2022 buyers, you probably have people whose plans were like 2024, 2025, and they're like, holy shit, we better get in now.
I know.
Right?
And it's definitely scary. And then on the sell side, it is interesting. Like I think if you want to guarantee a pretty great price, right? If you want to guarantee 30 offers on your property, the next 2 weeks are going to be, I think, the lowest inventory of the year. So I do think prices will go up a bit, but I don't know by how much. Like if you look in the past couple of years, you always see that January bump, right? So there's that big bump in January, and things kind of rise a little bit till March break, and then the inventory hits the market and it plateaus a bit. Last year we saw a little run up in December, but for the most part, like the big bump generally happens in Q1.
But do we have inventory levels
I think
this
the
low?
fear, the fear of like January coming in, and now it's like, oh, it's like I got to do something, and this year is my year, and yeah, the rush of buyers. And last year we definitely saw it. That's why we had that huge spike in sales. This year the sales is lower than last year, but higher than 18, 19, 20. So it means that we're still doing okay.
Still bumper crop. So some agents are starting to ask me about is this 2017 again? Because this feels a lot like 2017, where all of the agents are saying, I can't justify, I don't know. Someone says, what is this worth? Like, I don't know. In December, it was worth.
If you say, we know you're lying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like if you're like, for sure, or like something's
Rule
up there.
number
Only
one.
inexperienced agents that'll tell you the exact number right now. So because right now we can say, well, it was 920 in December, so it's probably 1.25 right now.
I put an offer in the other day in Dufferin and St. Clair, and we looked at the prices. We said, okay, it's going to go for a little more. And then based on the number of offers, we're like, okay, someone's going to be stupid and pay much more than what the one sold for before. And we went even above that and we lost.
Everybody did the same thing though. Everybody was going, I think somebody's going to be really crazy.
For sure we were paying too much money. And it was like, I don't even know if we were top 3, right? And we were like 400 grand over asking.
There should be a scoreboard at the end.
Right. Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just, I don't like working with buyers, and it's really hard to get, the conscience of telling someone to pay that much money is just, it's tough. And you don't sleep well at night. If they get it, you don't sleep well at night. If they don't get it, you don't sleep well at night. It's like, it's a lose-lose.
For the next day, right? Because now the next one, everyone's looking at that. And that's all I think about in this time of year is like, we're just setting the comps for the spring market. Because there's nobody on that street now that's going to sell it for less.
Not a chance, right? And it's, so you said something really good there. You said in the next 2 weeks, it might be the most opportune time, even though we know prices are going to go up more. And I always talk about this. If you got like a stigmatized property or a corner lot, a busy street, this is the time.
This is the time.
You may get more money later on, but it may take longer. There may be less interest. Maybe they're going to want to do a home inspection. But I'm just saying, like, there's little risks that you take by going into a more balanced market because your property's not so great. But right now, everybody's just buying anything, and you could end up netting way more money because of that, right?
If you want to live in the area, right?
Well, no, the seller, right?
Yeah,
the seller.
You are going to get some outlier sales right now where people overpay for some things. If you're buying a property that isn't stigmatized in some way, busy street, smells like any number of things, doesn't have any parking.
Yep. That's another good one. No parking. I just listed one today, 1.2 in Parkdale or Roncesvalles, but borders to Parkdale, no parking.
Okay.
I wonder if that's going to be a factor, right?
No problem today.
Right. Green peas, right? I put green peas 3 doors down in the listing. Like park over there for $20.
What's the competition?
There's a couple more expensive ones that are nicer and detached and all that stuff. But this is the lowest price in the area. That's how you do it, right? Make sure everyone comes and sees yours before they look at anybody else's, right? So I want to talk a lot about the business side. So your brokerage, ZooCasa, right? How many agents do you guys have now?
We're at 140, 145.
Huge brokerage. huge. Okay. I know
Well,
there's some big players out there, but that's a big brokerage.
yeah, we're really a big team, right?
Team. I was going to say, is it a team or
Yeah.
a brokerage?
It's a hybrid. So like anybody that's at our brokerage, when you're doing deals, we've got an inside team. Like I've got 9 guys that just scrub the leads. So you're not getting
Awesome.
the name, number, email. We scrub appointment bookers in-house on salary with obviously commission bonus. And then so they're kind of lobbing them up. But then unlike a team where, it's somebody else's name on the sign, like it's your name on the sign, and repeat and referral is personal. So we've got this hybrid.
Unique. It's totally unique. I think it's future. It's a modern brokerage. It's why you have 140, agents in a brokerage. It's only been around for so many years. And I think it's great. We have a lot of agents who listen to our show, actually. I'd say a good percentage, probably 20% of them. So if somebody's looking for a brokerage, what are some of the benefits of joining ZooCasa?
I had no idea what I was walking into here. We're just opining on random things, but not
Welcome to the Toronto Real Estate Show.
Yeah. Not always ready for a pitch here, but generally, like we are. I mean, a lot of people say this, but we are actually picky about who we bring on board. So because we're lobbing up meetings with actual clients, that's an opportunity cost to us, right? So we make sure that people have. How do I put this? That is kind of a bit more fun. So I need to want to talk to you, right? So if I can have a conversation, hold a conversation with you, and I like you, that is a big check in the direction, right? Because there's lots of people with licenses that, I mean, power to them, but doesn't mean I want to hang out with them every day. And then I need to be intelligent. So I think that it is, it's a challenging role because everybody and their dog has a real estate license right now, but not everybody should be giving $1 million advice. So I need to be able to hold a conversation where people can answer questions as though they actually listened to the question. And they can understand math, they can help people make really big financial decisions. And so for us, it's about if we check those 2 boxes, right? You're enjoyable to speak to, you're intelligent, and then it feels like you're ethical, like that. Unfortunately, a couple Google searches, we can find some no's, but some of that you kind of need to dance with people to learn. We can teach you real estate, right? Like we can teach you, go out and preview. We can teach you what to say to clients. We can teach you how, like, the ins and outs of the widget of real estate. But in order, I think, to be a great agent, you need to, come from service, and so you need to be intelligent, be able to give advice, and then be kind of fun because you need to be personable. Although I've met some agents that are quite successful.
You said the widget of real estate. What does that mean?
Oh, just meaning, I mean, we're all in this real estate business, right? So houses are our product. If I worked at a paint store, I'd be selling paint. If I work in the real estate store, so we are selling real estate. But there are some people out there who are, sell anything. So the widget of real estate just meaning like that is our product, right? We are advisors on real estate transactions. So that's the business.
Got it. So a big thing in the news right now is demand versus supply. Which one is the problem? Like, who are your clients right now? Who's logging into ZooCasa? Who's searching and who's buying through your company?
Yeah. So I mean, the reality of our model is we're capturing people that are searching online, and then we're connecting them with our agents. So it's not dissimilar from Darryl. I'm sorry, I'm not. What brokerage are you at?
I'm not an agent.
Darryl's a developer.
You're
He's not
the
an agent.
Okay, but your wife's an agent, right? Did I see that?
No.
Okay, totally put my foot in my mouth. So
Darryl gives advice like he is an agent.
I speak like,
he gives $1 million advice without the license.
That's right.
Okay, great.
To myself.
Yeah,
I know. I'm messing with them.
But so, I mean, in terms of how I break it down for my agents, is there's 2 kinds of people in the world, right? There's the people that know you, and it's a lot easier to do real estate transactions with them. And there's the people that don't know you. And so you focus on both. One are your network, your sphere, as a traditionalist would call it. And you work that sphere, and you work people that know you, and you hope that they trust you and that your advice, and they use you as an agent. Then there's all the people that don't know you, and there's many different ways to market to them, right? In the old days, we had these open houses. You could knock on doors. You could send those flyers that everybody.
You guys do open houses?
I mean, we're not right now, but agents.
But your agents do it, but they understand that it's for prospecting purposes.
Totally. I mean, or at
Okay.
least the difficulty is always talking to your the sellers about understanding that, right? And so
Yeah.
most of the time, like where I found open houses helpful in the heat of the market back when you used to be allowed to have them is for those, it's more like nobody's walking in off the street and buying an open house. Like that happens. I think the stats out of NAR, which is the National Association in the States, I think it's somewhere in the 1 to 3% range of homes will
Yeah.
actually sell from an open house like that. They are, and so anytime you've got a seller and you're doing a listing, like you tell them this open house is going to get some foot, like nobody's walking in and buying it on the open house. Right.
Yeah.
What it does provide, so if the agent wants to do one because they want to get that foot traffic to try and generate buy side leads or nosy neighbor, other like listings in the area, the benefit to the person selling the house is, as we know, sometimes people do want to go back a second or third time, right? Especially in the higher price points, they want to go back and they can come back to an open house and not have to like bring their agent. Right. So there are some benefits, but nobody's coming in and buying that house for the most part.
But what I was getting at is the traffic that you create, is it local? Like, are you dealing with local
Yeah.
people,
So
buyers, or is it
almost all of our traffic.
investors?
Yeah. So almost all of our traffic is local. So local in those regions. Like it's people searching for addresses. It's people searching just, homes for sale in Riverdale or whatnot. And like we don't have an international following, that's for sure. It's just people searching for real estate just like anybody else. So I mean there's lots of companies out there that generate leads online and it's all just a traffic game, right? So like come into the site, use the site, get the name, number, and email, and then connect them with an agent. So I believe out of the models like ours, and don't quote me on this, I don't follow too closely, but I believe we're the only one with a full inside department. So people get called immediately, they get connected with their agent that's the most likely to help
Yeah.
them, like the people that are going to be the best
Definitely
fit.
the only one that I would say is a brokerage that's not the name of the team leader's name, and
And
also
then
allows exactly having the ISAs working, the leads, and then also allowing people to have their own individual business as well. Like it's very unique. I'm not sure if that evolved. When Rogers owned ZooCasa and you guys bought it off them, it was, I guess, similar, right? Like
so
that's what
yeah,
they were doing, right?
so when Rogers owned it, it was more of a paper brokerage. So like a Zillow, right? So they generated leads, sold them, or like a realtor.com, right? Because CA is very different.
Wasn't a brokerage.
It was not. So
It was
they,
like an advertising
was a
platform
website.
for
yeah.
agents. Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
website.
yeah. So they were generating leads, and then they were participating. I think at the end it was 35 points. It might have been 40 on a sale. Same thing, just kind of, but they could be anywhere, right? So they had 600 agents across the country, and they were doing some discounting. And the difficulty was in Canada, the boards didn't like that because the board said,
The bird dog, no?
exactly, like you have
Yeah.
to participate in real estate.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to have this, like you're not allowed to get the feed if you're not an actual brokerage, and if you're not actually participating listing homes, then you're not allowed to.
We are the most anti-competitive industry out there, and we're good at it.
It's yeah, you said it.
So when you started
you don't have to
ZooCasa, the data wasn't available to everybody. Were you one of the big proponents in getting that out to everybody?
I'll admit I didn't like wave the flag and go in marching and spend a lot of time on that. But the second like we were ready, so when sold data was allowed to be displayed, it was a
took advantage of that.
Yeah.
I think you guys are leaders too in that. And I don't follow this, and I don't know all the brokerages, and I don't know all the websites. I do use a couple websites because they're easier than realtor.ca. I won't name them, but I know ZooCasa is one of them.
There's a few out there that have some really great tech that were like there's some really usable ones. There's some that have great apps. There's some like that have
Exactly.
So
it's faster for me to get that information than it is for me to log in, get my stuff. So I use them. But data wise, and Darryl's super techie, and we talk a lot about technology. What type of tech right now is being the most helpful for you guys to be able to grow as a brokerage and support your agents?
Hey, great question. We used to have our own CRM, so like proprietary in the back, but that is a huge lift from a technological build and maintenance, and it wasn't worth our time. So, there's a little regret having bothered to do that. So a little over a year ago, we just like hooked up to Follow Up Boss and put everything in, so it's in the back end and it's all connected. And so that change in allowing a CRM company, like we're a lead gen company, right? On our online front facing. So allowing the CRM company to do what they do and do that very well has really helped to empower agents. So it's kind of all about a suite, right? Put it all together in a way that that runs.
We use Follow Up Boss too. It's by far the best. I've used other ones. By far, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And so on the lead gen side, right? Is this just something that you guys are just constantly adapting? You guys obviously have in-house people who are doing all your online stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are just constantly adapting, like how to get more traffic, how to have more
Exactly.
people.
More traffic, more conversions when the traffic's on there. And then the sales side is just making sure that our agents are, quite frankly, like I said, intelligent, ethical, and good at winning on the bidding wars and negotiating on the sell side. Like what you guys will probably find, or what you'd see TK at this point, is, sellers having that, well, my house is going to sell itself. I'm going to get 30 offers. So why would I pay you full commission, right? Or why would I pay you commission at all? Whereas in this market, you said, yeah, you have 30 offers. How do you know that that guy's actually paying you as much as they could? Like my experience and ability to help you level up the best offer and to kind of pit other offers against each other, and like that is where I'm adding my value, because somebody who just takes what they get versus somebody who knows how to negotiate up in this market is going to earn their commission back many times over.
Pay for itself. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so so leaders, Darryl, like ZooCasa definitely. Even what was your involvement in Rate Hub? Because I use Rate Hub for all my mortgage, everything. So what was your involvement?
I can take no credit for Rate Hub. It's more so I'm again we almost, I don't want to say we predated tech, but like tech has been cool these days, but like we bootstrapped that thing. It's my business partners. They also are owners and directors in ZooCasa, but it's totally separate operationally. So it's my best friends that are still operational there. I'm on the board, an early like investor.
Yeah, because even that's levels ahead of everybody. What Rate Hub was doing.
Like, James and Alyssa running Rate Hub, like they are. You gave me a nice introduction, but they're the smartest people I know. So
hey, that's everybody.
I'm just trying to learn and keep up to them.
So how did you know? How did you know that buying ZooCasa rather than starting this, you must have had the idea of what you were going to do with it regardless. How did you know that buying this basically defunct idea of Rogers, that you could use it to your advantage and how it would maybe propel you further quicker rather than, starting from scratch?
Yeah, great question. So we started Rate Hub. So I invested in a mortgage brokerage called True North Mortgage back in 2007 or 8. So it's the one in the Path downtown. And so very traditional walk-in. Dan, who runs that, does a great job of online lead gen as well. But then we were spending a lot of money on online leads on other platforms in the mortgage world. So my roommate and best friend, Alyssa, started Rate Hub. And that would have been 2010. And then we said, what's another industry similar to mortgages where we can generate leads online and give them into, otherwise commission salespeople. And so I got my insurance license and my real estate license. And I'll be honest, I should have gone insurance because the multiples in the business. If you go and talk business, the multiples in the business world are unreal in insurance. But I had a weird run in with a pretty sketchy character. It was my first thing with insurance. It turned me off. So I just ran towards real estate. And so I was an agent for a couple of years at Remax and Keller Williams. And then at that point, Rate Hub was about 5 years old. And we were doing really well, generating leads online, selling them through a brokerage offline. And Rogers put ZooCasa up for sale. And so for what we were able to buy it for the amount of traffic it already had, it was just
they branded like that. Those hockey rink boards were on the rink for like 2 years afterwards. He doesn't change it. And I'm playing hockey, still seeing them. I'm like, that was all free press.
Yes. No, admittedly, what's interesting is the reason it didn't work. I mean, I think I need to be careful what I say, but part of the reason it didn't work with Rogers is they're spending money on things like billboards, and a billboard works for you. So if it's TK Butler sells your house and you're here and it's local, it works. It doesn't work as well to drive online traffic by spending money on the Blue Jays arena. Like you have to spend an inordinate amount of money to make that work. And then, I mean, I've had 3 kids in the last 5 years, and so I admittedly
Whoa.
I haven't been full time, so I didn't take full advantage in those first couple of years on all of what could have been, so to speak. So in some ways, I just feel like I'm just getting started, but in many ways, the more I'm sure you guys
You
feel
made
that.
the right choice. 3 kids, that's the better choice. And
I
you
mean,
can,
they're
you got
pretty
lots of time. You got lots of years ahead of you. We're young people, so lots of years to
yeah, I
find
don't
success
feel
in
young.
business.
You feel young?
I'm still young. I'm like in the mind of a 25-year-old. That's
Okay.
it. Not
I'm
not
feeling
I'm not giving up.
really haggard these days, so good on you. I'm impressed.
So it's impressive. And we had Tom Story on our show last week, and we were just kind of like bragging how he was on a list of some pretty elite people in the Toronto real estate stats for 2021.
Yeah.
And there was a ZooCasa agent on there as well too. So like you have successful
yeah.
people who
Like I
are
have
killing it.
we have 3 or 4 agents that did over $1 million in sales last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So
impressive. Like that's for any team, right? For you to have that type of volume and to
I
have
think there was 4. I know there's definitely 3 that crossed $1 million last year, but there might have been 4th.
When you say sales, you mean commissions?
Yeah, like gross commissions coming in. So
That's pretty good.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's like an individual's business plan, but in the individual obviously has years of marketing and advertising dollars and huge expenses and all that kind of stuff. So to go on a team, most of the teams when they advertise, they'll say, hey, come and make 100 grand a year and whatever.
Yeah.
But for you to be able to have people who are all doing things at a high level and competing with the brands that have been around forever, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is I'd love to say that everyone's going to get there at the brokerage, but they're not. And a lot of people will start and say, well, how do I be like Emma or Doug or Carlos, right? And how do I hit those numbers? And I think people think that there's some secret sauce, right? People think that there's some, maybe they're getting better leads or whatever it is. And I'm
Glengarry leads. If you've ever seen that
exactly.
Glenn
That's
Ross,
exactly it. And like Carl who started condos.ca, like he's a friend, and we'll talk about it because his team will say the same thing to him, right? Like, oh, he's just getting better leads. And she's like, and the frustrating piece is like, no, you can, the nice thing with Bald Boss, like you can look, Emma spent the most time on the phone last year. Like there's no secret sauce, just work harder, right? Like put in your hours. It is shocking to me the number of people that will make phone calls and not prepare, right? So not look up the address and spend the time and do the research. And so our top producers are usually the most humble. Like they come to it from service. They come to it from I need to work. They don't eat lunch. It's not like there's no secret sauce in real estate. Just work harder.
I don't eat breakfast, so I'm working my way up
Is that a
towards not eating
fasting
lunch.
thing or a time thing?
Yeah, fasting thing. But I definitely find a shawarma at least 2
Yeah.
o'clock every day to make
The
sure
fasting
I'm
works
fueled.
so well between days 2 and 3. I did that and it was unreal. Like I can't wait to stop nursing so I can fast
Yeah,
again.
it works.
It's really good. Yeah.
Some days I am like, did I eat anything today at all? Like, did I drink even? I know I had like 8 coffees, but did I have any water?
Yeah.
Right? Like I just get in these, what the hell happened
Then the
today?
headache tells you that you didn't, right? You start getting that headache and
When you wake up from fainting, then you're like, hey, something happened.
I don't know why I have this migraine. I don't know what's going on here.
So
Darryl,
Lauren,
are you a builder?
What's that?
Are you a builder?
I was at one point in a different lifetime.
Okay.
He does development now. He doesn't get involved in the construction side of things.
Okay, so buy lots, sever, permit kind of thing. I'm just curious, what are you buying? What is it?
I'm more like land and mid-rise kind of thing at the moment, but I've bought like lots and built custom homes. I've had a general contracting company. I actually owned a brokerage at one point. That was a disaster. I've done many things. I've tried many. I've worn many hats in the industry.
Right.
Currently, just developing land.
So how are you buying? So, and I'm sorry to flip the table here.
Flip it. I love it.
Okay. What do you buy right now? Like if you're trying to say, I need a project, right? I'm starting from scratch. I need a project in 2022. You know, my husband bid on one of TK's listings in December, and I was like, I can't pay that. And he and I were talking, we're like, this is crazy. And now I'm like, fuck, I should have bought that.
Yeah.
Should have bought that, right? Like,
Well,
it's nuts.
I got lucky. I just bought a house with TK, and we were
Yeah.
lucky enough to get like a 6-month closing. So I think I did okay just waiting to close on this thing. Right. But as far as land is concerned, I mean, it's always hard to find a good deal. Yeah, it's like you're saying, lots of phone calls. You can't only look at stuff on the market because that's no good. So you just lots of phone calls, lots of talking to people, lots of networking, and you know, having enough money to tie things up to figure them out when they become available.
Right.
But it's a much different animal.
Darryl did a site in Highland Creek, military trail that Alltree is now building on, right in the little Highland Creek area. And that site, like Ballantree Homes had it. So many other people were trying to figure out what to do. So Darryl was able to find a way to make sense of it all, right? So sometimes the deals are out there and they're right in front of people, but it's the guy who's got the ideas on what to do with the land, on how to make them, like that's the value. And that's the stuff that I try to bring Darryl, is things that maybe I'm not the first guy there, but you know, he sees like the highest density and he sees what, you know, actually can be
Also
done
get
there.
through the approvals process, right? So get it through, like get the density approved, get the hookups and whatnot.
Or at least get it far enough along that it's worth more to somebody else. That's my MO. So one like if I find something and I buy it, then I'm always trying to just sell it.
Get the next step.
Just while pushing it along, I'll be trying to sell it simultaneously.
Right.
Because it's as you're working it, it's always increasing in value. It's not like, I mean, I guess it's like a house that you would slowly renovate, but it's such a different animal. It's so crazy. But I mean, I'm always interested in the end user experience and what's going on out there. And so I like to be tied into things for sure. I used to be heavily involved with the sales of pre-construction units.
Right. In the condo world or mid-rise?
Condo, yeah.
He's got some cool tech too. So like virtual, at one point, virtual reality, like tours and stuff like that too. But you know, now there's like floor plans and different stuff too. We've been talking a lot about the metaverse and having, you know, NFTs involved in real estate. And we went back for like a month straight, like all the guests that we had on, it was like, the metaverse, it's coming, and the NFTs, and how is it going to impact? And then Realm, Treb announcing Realm, we thought, oh, this is going to be such a step in the right direction, but it just seems like, no, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we haven't really been talking about it too much lately, Darryl.
Oh, it's weird. It's like, I'm sure, I mean, do you consider your company a tech company? Or did you used to consider it a tech company? Or
well, I mean, I feel like you just answered that, but yeah. So I mean, there's what is a true tech company, right? So a true tech company might be something that only exists in cyberspace, or something that builds actual microchips or something. Like in terms of when I look at most companies, they are all tech enabled services in some way, right? Like it's more that the technology enables a real something that occurs in real life. So yes, we're a technology enabled company, and part of that is ours, and then part of it is also kind of the universe that you surround your technology with, so that it again enables your agents to be the most successful. Because one thing that like a lot of people on the outside don't necessarily understand is like our clients are our agents, right? So if you own a brokerage, your client is your agent, right? So that they are my clients, and I know that if I take good care of them, they actually take good care of our combined clients.
Yep, exactly.
Right. And so, and I have to think about and roll out the red carpet and treat my agents as my clients, which means teaching them how to roll out the red carpet and work with our actual
succeed, right? To meet their personal goals and everything else too, which is what we do with our buyers and sellers. What is it that
Exactly.
you need help with? Let me figure it out, right?
Exactly.
So
And it's, yeah.
all the talk of this then, like, crypto world, metaverse stuff, is that anything that, your company looks at as being something that they would adopt if it
So I
came to
should
the
say
table?
yes, but admittedly, I am not the person to talk to about this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty analog. Like I don't have Facebook or Instagram or anything. Like I am really old school in some ways.
But is it something people bring to you ever? Like, is it ever like,
Totally,
hey,
totally, but I'm not the one to. So I won't be. Let me just say this: I won't be leading the pack on the metaverse here. But I know there's already brokerages doing it. I have a couple agents who are like already trading land, like not obviously through us. I wouldn't know how, and I'm not going to be the one to forge the way there. But yeah, we had a holiday party. Ooh, just sneaked that one in. But snuck, just snuck that one in.
Masked,
And
fully masked.
yeah, and people were talking about trades that they were doing in this metaverse. Like I'm the personality type, I'm at like buy a farm outside Kitchener and grow some apples and live there. Like that is just, I will never get there.
do that in the metaverse?
You can't eat it.
Way quicker.
You can do the apples. The harvest will come every day if you want it. I don't
Right.
actually know that, but I feel
Oh,
like that's how it would
you
work.
can't. No, I want a real one. But
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. So you guys aren't a tech company per se, because I don't know what a tech company is, but you leverage
no,
as
no,
much technology as possible.
I
No,
think
I get it.
I think everybody's a tech company. Like everybody is a like whether you want to be or not right now. And so it's more, is there, I think when I think of like tech company versus not tech company, is there a scalability, right? So is your secret sauce scalable because of your technology? And so that's where our answer is yes. So we are about to turn on in Alberta and BC, and I don't need to have a whole nother group. Like I need agents there to service the leads, but I don't need to build
Reinvent the wheel.
I don't
Yeah.
exactly. And so that scalability is where people give you the kind of tech side of things, right? So I don't need, in order to go from 150 to 500 agents in the next 2 years, I don't need to go from my kind of like 10 marketing and dev people to 50, right? Maybe 15, right? It needs to be, in my world, how you kind of define that tech side is your proprietary technology scalable at that outsized the frontline staff, which it is. So that portion is the technology side. But I don't have people like, using NFTs and crypto and like selling houses in the
Not many people do.
That's not
No,
Yeah,
but
it's
there are
not
people
there
who-
yet. It's not there yet.
there are totally people doing it.
there's a ton of people doing it, but at least
Yeah.
it's on the radar. Like you're at least forward enough thinking to have it on the radar. A lot of people are just shrugging it off like it's stupid, it's nothing, it's not going to be a thing. And maybe they're right. Who knows right now? But like,
Yeah. Nobody knows.
it's definitely something that should be on everybody's radar if they're serious about real estate, right?
Well, and totally, and let people have that. And if that is what makes you happy, like part of this haggard old age of mine, I'm also coming to the realization of like, what do you actually want to do, right? And how do you want to spend your time? And I just don't want to spend it looking at my apples on a screen. My preference would be an orchard outside.
We could get you 10 times as many apples though,
They're not real. Like I break down there. But in terms of the ability to pay with crypto and those kinds of things, like I think that's going to become mainstream.
For
You're
sure.
seeing it already.
And you're now, like, in the Financial Post interviews that I've seen, you're talking about Vancouver market. You're obviously investing in with your analysts to be understanding the entire Canadian market, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's the
And
growth that your company's hoping to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we know what works for us here. We need to increase our agent headcount outside of the GTA. So about half of our agents right now are kind of Toronto 416, and the other half are 905, and then also Ottawa, Kitchener-Waterloo, London, Barrie, Niagara. So we've got a lot more, like we've got about 2 to 3 times the number of leads as we need for our current agent headcount just in Ontario. So then model that into some other cities right now.
This is why I think ZooCasa was one of the best real estate purchases, and I mean that, okay? Because TK Butler real estate team Going to Calgary, nobody cares about. And for me to go there and try to be TK Butler real estate team, they're going to say, who is this guy? But ZooCasa, it's faceless, it's trusted brand, it's something that they're familiar with, maybe a little bit more or less depending on where it is. And then you're just, utilizing the same tools that you use for lead generation here in all these other markets. And when John Smith shows up and he's with the ZooCasa brand, that's a lot more credibility, right? Because it's like they're dealing with John Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had a better ego, I'd be like, yeah, and here's all the reasons why. But the reality is, I'm much better at beating myself up, and I think I would take the other side. If I look at some of the people I respect the most in real estate right now, like, I don't know if you've seen or heard of Mark Ferris and Barrie,
Yep.
but he is running a good shop, right? And a beautiful
big time.
in Collingwood. And so I think he could open and run great processes in Calgary.
But he's not.
Well, but he could.
But I don't think any other companies are. Brokerages, maybe.
What's his name? And Ben Kinney. Ben Kinney started that kind of Teams program, and so I would take the other side, that it's possible, and I think yes, we are doing something that is scalable because of the tech, and that it needs to be faceless, so that, because for our model, the agent needs to have their own business. It just works that way. It's more like we are competing with the Remax, the Royal LePage. Like, we are competing with them for an agent offering. But I would just say you can run a really good business as TK Butler Real Estate, and you absolutely can expand. But
it costs a lot of money. It's going to cost.
And
you need a TV show. You need to be like Ryan. You need to be on $1 Million Listing Toronto.
Yeah.
That's what's going to work. But like I said, the ZooCasa brand to me is what's going to be the leverage that you are going to benefit from while you're going into other markets and stuff like that. So let's talk quickly about those other markets. Okay. Tell me about it. So Calgary, Edmonton, and you said another place you're looking to get your license.
Vancouver. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, being out, and part of it's just population, right? So for us, to go into somewhere, we need a certain amount of lead flow. It's a funnel, right? So it's inbound, you need the lead flow to get the agents to be able to do the sales. So it is easier for us to start where there's bigger populations, for many reasons. And so starting there. Now the Western market's different. Commissions are actually lower.
Alberta for sure. Vancouver the same?
So they do that the same kind of like certain percent up to 100, 150, and then
crazy.
So it's very different. And so commissions are lower, and then also commission splits to brokerages are even lower, which is interesting because in Toronto, it's already very low compared to the States. So just kind of looking at all of that, and what does our offering then need to be to make business sense to be there? Because don't get me wrong, like, I mean, good agents have done very well these last couple of years, and they've been worth it. Like, I believe
they're not hungry,
worth their advice. But a lot of people also then paint everyone with the same brush, whereas I think this is correct, but the number one profession that applies for bankruptcy is real estate agents, because everyone thinks like, well, you're gonna go do a Lambo, but it's more like, it is not an 80-20, it's a 90-10, 95-5 kind of industry. Like, the good ones are really good.
Yeah. And very, very rare.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a few good years, and then it doesn't go as well. Like in the 80s, and we can't be talking too much about commissions here, but brokerage splits were 50-50. Right. My dad started in 83 and it was 50-50, and they would pay for all your marketing, and they would do all these things, and they'd send you on trips around the world for your sales. And it was like the most like family oriented businesses, and everyone worked together. And it was such a great life growing up in the industry myself, and my dad being in it. And it was like everyone worked together, and then all this competition between brokerages of trying to get people, and agents trying to manage their own funds and marketing and stuff led to the race to the bottom, as well as the higher level of bankruptcies. There's just no like consistency and accountability and the control that the team model brings. I'm on a team now for the first time last 3 years in almost 15 years of business. And it's like way better. My life is so much better. I got more time. I got more, accountability. I got more organization. Like, this is the way all agents should be. You should be on a team of some sort. And the problem is agents go, but I don't want to pay more than
Totally.
$399 a month, or else,
Yeah,
it's not,
totally.
or else I'll never make it. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's the wrong mindset then.
I could, yeah, and that's I mean where we are is this hybrid of a team and a brokerage, because there's people need the stability and the mentorship and the kind of the coaching, the accountability. Very few people should be lone ducks, and it's really hard right now to try and be a one-man band. And so, yeah, so for us, it's about that, bringing it together, and we've kept it relatively small and very, picky about who we bring on board for a reason, because then you get to your point, just good people who want to have a good life. I want our agents to be able to live in the neighborhoods that they serve, which you would know this, many agents are renters, right? So I want them to be able to actually afford homes in the areas that they
want to
serve.
be, that they want to be dealing in. And
Part of the
you guys
group.
are spread out all over Ontario, so you
Yeah.
know that already, like what it takes. Bricks and mortar offices, you have one
Yes,
location?
we've got one downtown, and admittedly, I'll say agents give a lot of lip service to wanting them, but then don't come.
Never show up.
Yeah, so, but I
Yeah.
think there's some local ones, and I think if it's a smaller team, then there's some cultures where you're expected to be in the office, and I think it's healthy. I mean, Mark Ferris, I believe, used to, at least. I don't know him, so he would watch, like, if he's watching this, I just have a lot of respect. But
Probably is. He's
yeah.
Sunday morning coffee, this is what he watches.
That's right.
But there are some cultures where coming to the office is feasible. For us, with people across Ontario, it's not feasible for them to all come to the office, and quite frankly, our tech staff no longer wants to. And with the pandemic, so it'll be interesting to see the future of office space for us. But the virtual world for us has been great for small group coaching, and like I was on with my agents this morning, and agents across Ontario, and it's pretty cool that that's become normal.
It must have been easy for you guys to transition to work from home whenever you had to.
Yeah, it was a lot easier, I think, for us, because we were, we were already processing deposit checks remotely, right? We already had agents in London and Barrie, so we had already figured out the clients drop it off at a TD branch.
Were you working on Zoom already, or some kind of video conference?
No,
No, really?
Yeah, used to, for our training, we'd bring in, so if we hire a new agent in Ottawa, we'd bring them in for a couple of days to do our in-house kind of onboarding training for a bit, and then they would be on a Zoom platform for the couple other days. But it wasn't like, now it's all Zoom, right? And it's all
of at least a little bit.
Yeah, so admittedly, it forced better habits for us as well, but in terms of even just check processing, we at least were ready for that one, which made that a bit better. But you were asked earlier, is it supply or demand? It's supply is the problem.
Thank you for coming back there.
We got our last 10 minutes. Let's focus on the market. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Yeah, so hold on a sec. You just said it's a supply problem. Okay. And that's why I was asking you, who are your clientele? Because a lot of people say that it's a demand problem because we're bringing in all of the immigration and we're like just forcing this demand, right? But if everybody's dealing with local people, like most of the people I talk to, and I talk to a lot of agents, like they're not dealing with investors. They're all dealing with like local people trying to figure out where they're going to live. So well, what's it going to look like in the next few months?
I think the what is it? The spec tax was a really good example. Like, it showed us where investment money was. Like, when the spec tax came into BC, you saw kind of a much bigger drop off in the number of sales as people figured that out. When it came into Ontario, you saw York Region's prices plummet, right? And then Toronto didn't move. I believe Peel and Durham kind of stayed relatively flat. Toronto went up that year. 2017, I think. York Region came down almost 30% of detached houses for a couple months there, but then popped back up over the next 2 or 3 years. So you can kind of point to where some more of the foreign investment dollars were going. And now that's kind of evened out and it's become the norm, or people found ways around it, is I think the truth there. In terms of population, I think it's, oh goodness, don't quote me exactly. I was talking to somebody about this recently. Scotiabank, here, it's right here. So Scotiabank did a study in 2020, I don't know if you guys saw this, but so Canada has 424 housing units for every 1,000 people. 424 housing units for every 1,000 people. The G7 average in 2020 was 471.
How many people is that on average per space? Is that like 2.3?
2.2.
Yeah, 2 point little. I don't know. And then, but effectively, that's more than 10% less than your average G20. To put it into like real perspective, that means Canada needs 1.8 million more units to be the G7 average. So when you look at our housing and people say it's the most overheated and like even amongst G7 nations our prices don't make any sense. Well, if the average is 471 and we're 424, like there literally aren't enough homes for the people who actually live here.
We have the highest immigration rates.
Yeah, so we've got large immigration rates. They're coming mostly
1% a year. That's our immigration rate.
Yeah, and it would
crazy.
be like, and we've got some catching up to do. I think it's the pandemic, right? So, and we're not building at the same. I mean, Darryl, you've got to get out there and build more.
I'm trying. You should see but you should really see what we have to deal with to actually try and get some inventory online. It's like, here, like aim for this. Well, no, over here, right? No, and it's constantly just this moving target that they're like, today I think I'm going to interpret this way. So yeah, forget what I said, 5 months ago when you had to wait 5 months for that last appointment. Remember that? Forget what we said then. That doesn't mean anything. Now you got to go like, pay interest for another 6 months, wait for the next appointment, pay a bunch of consultants a bunch more money. Yeah, we don't care that you were within all of the guidelines that, the taxpayers paid to create for you to follow. That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're up against constantly.
Yeah.
So we'll follow the rules and they'll say, no, like you need to step it in here and you need to push it in there. And these people want you to do this report. And it's like,
and then we're going to let the 3 neighbors on the street complain and blow it all up anyway.
We have a guy who doesn't even live in Scarborough who like he put in like this motion, or I don't know what you do, but he put in this request for us to do this entire like street segment report, which I mean doesn't sound too cheap to me. I'm still waiting to hear what it's going to cost, but I mean somebody else will pay for it at some point, right? Because when I sell it, it will be a factor in my sale price. And when somebody buys it, it will be a factor in their future sale price. And that's just the way it's going to work. And if you really look behind the curtain, right? If this were Wizard of Oz and you could see what the pro forma could be versus what it must be currently, it is an absolute travesty. The amount of money that's added to each unit for no reason at all.
Just for taxes and
bureaucracy and baloney. Like my property, for example, let's say costs $100,000 a month in interest just to carry. So every 4-month delay that we spend waiting, right? $400,000 that gets passed on. I guarantee you, like that's just the way it works, right? Because everybody's looking for a return on these things and everybody gets them. Maybe not as much as they wanted, or maybe way more than they ever expected, depending. Like guys who bought land 3-4 years ago, I guarantee you, like their pro formas are a joke. Like they did so much better than they thought.
My difficulty, maybe again, this is me being a little too hard, but my difficulty talking to people in real estate right now is everybody thinks they're a genius. And like, it's just been a really good 20 years.
I have a mentor of mine who said to me, and I've said it on the show many times, the market made us geniuses.
Yes. I love
right?
that. Yes.
I love it. It stuck with me forever.
Credit for making the right decision in real estate. Like you couldn't make a wrong deciation in real estate in the last 10 years, unless you didn't. You kept waiting for it to fall.
Exactly. As long as you haven't sold yet, you haven't made a wrong decision. Yeah.
Or you're still waiting for it to drop.
Take it from experience. Speculation without equity at the wrong time is not a good recipe either for success.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that do it when it gets frothy and crazy like this. Like,
they do well. They do well. So
Well,
Lauren,
or poorly.
2022 predictions.
Oh goodness.
Give it to us.
Interest rates.
Yeah, well, okay, so I sadly do need to run really quickly, but the one thing I'll leave on interest rates, because I do know a thing or two about mortgages, is the all of the speculation right now and all of the headlines are interest rates are on the rise and things are crazy. But I mean, they're going up by 10 basis points right now, right? Like they're going up very slowly. Will they go? I don't have a macroeconomic ball, right? Like if inflation occurs like it is, it's going to occur across Europe. It's going to occur across the rest of the world. It's going to occur across North America. What's interesting and scary for those people looking at real estate prices is in times of inflation, you want to own real things, apple orchards, but you want to own real estate, gold. Like those are the ones that perform the best when inflation rises. So as much as some people say, oh, well, if interest rates go up, the whole housing market's going to crash. Well, actually, interest rates are going to go up because of inflation, which means real things like food and housing are getting more expensive. Put it there. So the other piece right now is I think what the first
Read between the lines.
prices
Right?
are going up, always going up.
Yeah.
Prices and rates. Prices and rates are going up. Prices and rates.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't think the rates are going to go up that much this year. Like everybody's worried about it right now, but things are going up right now by like 10 basis again. So that's 0.1% on, you can still get 1% mortgages right now, right? You can, the variable spread right now is a good time to go variable, but you know, your average 5-year fixed from 2000 to 2010 was like 3.96. We are a long way away from that. And with the stress test at around 5 points right now, like everybody can afford for it to go up a little bit more and still be able to hold their properties. So it's just a couple basis
The end
points.
the end is not in sight, at least for now.
If you qualified for a mortgage with the stress test, and then you go to refinance, you had that spread before, but do you get to eat into that spread, or do you have to qualify for even further?
Great question. So it used to be that the spread moved, but now that it's actually just it's some, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth, but it's actually, it's a kind of rate. It's not going to be capped, but it's more that it used to move automatically as the banks moved their rates, but now it requires an actual movement and there's no talk of that moving. So obviously we're not going to have a time where if interest rates jumped stratospherically up to like 6%, the stress test will be higher than that, the whole point. But it's more that right now interest rates are going up a little bit and there's no talk of them moving the stress test. And it doesn't happen automatically.
Not changing their qualifying rate right now.
Not right now.
So Lauren, I know you got to go. So for all the people listening, check out Lauren at ZooCasa.com. That's her company. And, you know, if you're a buyer or seller, go and check them out. If you're an agent looking to join a fantastic brokerage and team, you can, I'm sure there's a button on that website for you to get some more information as well. If you're listening to our show, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We love comments. We love chat and Apple, iTunes, podcast reviews. Thanks, guys.
Hey.
Well done, TK. What an outro.